farmed with death penalty.
You serious?
What's up, everyone? My name is Tags, and I like to play the tower. Oh, man. Oh, that intro. But yeah, today we are going to talk about a different topic here, since I've been playing now for a little bit over a year. And also I have two games up at the moment. I have my main account and a mini account that I don't really pay attention to all the time. It doesn't run 24/7. I do have fun with it. I'm trying to do like full EHP with it. But anyways, enough of that. So for this video today, I wanted to go over something. I've been thinking about this for a little bit. I know others have discussed this in the past, but I wanted to go over just some mistakes I made my first year of playing this game. And hopefully some people can learn from this and not make the same mistakes that I did, because, I mean, let's be real. We all got to start somewhere, and I definitely did not know what I know now. There was, I mean, I don't know, maybe some things might surprise you, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, a year into playing, I had about 22 trillion lifetime coins, as shown in my first tower video. And now, if I go to my stats now, about 8 months later, ever since then, so this is where I'm currently at. I'm at about 5.5 big Q lifetime with about 91k stones. So in about 8 months, I went from 22 trill lifetime to about 5.5 big Q. And so I guess some of the things here I want to go over are things, I guess, mistakes that I made my first year of playing that I wish I would have known about sooner. So let's get into the first one right now.
Every fail builds up my swing. Soon these comers gonna learn to sing.
Okay, so this may not be as major of one, but for the longest time, I never really did overnight runs. When I began playing this game, I played it on my phone. It got to a point where when I was going to the gym, I would leave the game running on my phone, do my set, put the phone on the ground, face down, I guess because I felt embarrassed, and just let the game run all day. And then eventually, I ran it on my iPad. And until about 6 months ago was when I began to use emulators such as MSI Player, and now I currently use Mumu Player. But for the longest time, I did not do overnight runs. So for, I would say, over a year, I think I could count on my hand how many times I did an overnight run at the time. I guess because I wasn't really heavily invested in the game as much, maybe. And so maybe I only did a couple overnight runs, and then I didn't start doing overnight runs really until I switched over to an emulator like MSI Player. That's when I started doing overnight runs, because now looking back, I probably missed out on a lot of econ, and I probably would have been able to farm so much more. And now obviously I have things like auto restart and all that, so farming overnight is a lot easier, and I could just let it run now because it's just fully AFK and so forth. But yeah, for the longest time I didn't run overnight runs, and overnight runs you definitely want to try it and do them as much as you can to get your econ up and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, I guess that was more so a smaller mistake, but it was something that I did for a while. And so now, yeah, so that's that. And now let's move on to the next topic. Okay, in the past, I didn't know any better, and I didn't know a lot about modules. And I figured, okay, well, if I want to get one module, then if I need to merge other stuff and get rid of other epics, even if they're unique, so be it, and so forth. But little did I know later, I didn't know that some of the modules were as good as they are now. And so because of that, now when it comes to merging modules and stuff, I didn't know what mods were good and what modules were bad. I believe at the time I don't remember what I had 100%. I think I have one screenshot of my module setup. I gotta try and look for that in a bit. But when it came to merging modules, I had no issue using unique modules as fodder because I didn't know any better. I figured, oh well, I'll just get another one eventually, or this mod's better, so I won't be needing the other one. And so yeah, at one point I think I had negative mass projector while I was still EHP, and I believe I got rid of it because I thought it was a trash module. When it turns out, actually, it would have been pretty good to stick with. And I don't remember what I did. I think I got rid of it for ACP at the time, which is also a decent module, but I think looking back, if I was still EHP, it would have been better to stick with negative mass projector, as ACP would have been better, more so for damage. And even as like a hybrid, I think negative mass projector would have been better at the time until Sharp Fortitude came out. But at the time, yeah, I remember I got rid of that. And then also, if anyone watched my interview I did with Crowbar Zero a couple months back, I talked about how I used a pulsar harvester as fodder several times. I had a mythic pulsar harvester. I got rid of it because I thought it was trash. I thought it was a bad module. And it turns out it's actually really good. Real quick, this is going to piss off a lot of people, but
Okay.
at first I thought the pulsar was like a trash module. I had it at mythic. I don't know what the hell happened to it. I think I unmerged it at some point and used the legendaries as like fodder or something like that, because I don't know where it went. And now I just have one epic, so I had to rebuild one from an epic, and I have an ancestral now, but at the time I really wanted to use it, and because because it was only epic, I couldn't really use it for tournaments or anything, or for milestones. And so yeah, that but now when it comes to unique modules, you should never merge away unique modules and use them as fodder, because you should be trying to get it to 5-star so that you never have to look at it ever again, and so that it can improve your odds of pulling other modules. Now, don't get me wrong, when modules become 5-star, you could still pull that module. It's just a very small percentage, but I mean, it is what it is. It's still a possibility. But now looking back, I can't believe that. So looking back at that now, I kind of wish I didn't do that, but oh well, here we are now. And yeah, now let's move on to the third topic, which also is module related. This one I think is a common, well, I'm not going to say a common mistake, but let's get into it. Yeah, so I was that guy. I didn't know any better. Yes, I farmed with death penalty for a long time because I had no idea that it was not supposed to, it was only for tournaments. I was wondering why I was doing decent in tournaments, but then when it came to farming, my econ was so bad, and part of that would contribute to farming with death penalty. Basically, I think I have a screenshot somewhere, yeah. So basically, I found an old screenshot of one of my module setups. And so, oh yeah, and this could point back to the last topic. I had a mythic chip, and I'm pretty sure I unmerged that at some point and used it as fodder because, like I was saying earlier, I thought it was a bad module. And it's kind of unfortunate now because I use it as an assist now for tournaments and milestones, but whatever. But yeah, if you look in the screenshot, I was using a legendary death penalty for a while. It was epic for a little bit, then I got to legendary, and then I had a negative mass projector, but eventually I got rid of that. Now looking at the screenshot, I can't believe that I actually had an Epic Plus Space Displacer that I could have used, and then I could have eventually got that to Legendary, and that would have been better I mean, that would have been fine for now. And also, I even have 3 other cannon modules. I have an Astral Deliverance. I have a Being Annihilator, and I have a Havoc Bringer, and I could have used any of those. Would have been a better choice than Death Penalty. But like I was saying, sometimes, you know, you gotta start somewhere. If you don't know, you don't know. It is what it is. I wasn't a part of any Discords at the time. You know, looking back, it's kind of hilarious that I farmed with it for so long, and it is what it is, you know. But never again. Now that I know Death Penalty should only be used for tournaments or for milestones. If you don't have Amplifying Strike, then Death Penalty is ideal for tournaments and milestones. And then when it comes to farming, any other module would do fine, whether it's Amplifying Strike, Havoc Bringer, or Astral Deliverance, etc. Any of them would have been fine. And the reason being is because Death Penalty, because of the unique effect, it's going to kill too many enemies outside of your bonuses before they activate. And if you run a hoarding strat, it's even worse. If you run a hoarding strategy, using Death Penalty is basically, that's going to be basically a that's going to be like the death of your econ, you know? Basically, you're basically putting your econ on death row at that point, because you're not going to get much of it. This was this was one of the biggest mistakes I made, and it's funny because everyone, they talk about how you should not use Death Penalty, but here we are, you know. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed at the time, but whatever. It is what it is. All right, let's move on to the next one. I think this one may surprise some people. Well, yeah, let's move on to the next one now. Yes, you heard it right. I did at some point. Now, keep in mind, this was at a time where smart missiles are in a much better position. When I began to play this game, chain lightning was still trash. It's still neat. This was before the rework. Same thing for Death Wave. Death Wave was mediocre as well. It wasn't like what it is now before they did the rework on it. And so smart missiles were in a much better position, and they were like the end game. They were like the end game ultimate weapon of choice. But still, even then, they still took a lot of investment. And I don't know what I was thinking here. I know at the time that you were supposed to sync up your golden tower with your black hole, but I don't know why I thought that this would be a great idea, syncing up my smart missiles with my black hole and golden tower. I don't know. I guess I thought I would hoard the enemies, and then the golden tower and the black hole would activate, and then boom, the smart missiles will kill everything. But the issue with that is, if you don't do any damage, what do you kill him, bro? You ain't killing anything. So yeah, I was still like very early game, so my smart missiles were not doing anything at all. So that was just a waste of stones. And now, even now, I think investing in smart missiles is not really ideal until you're like really late game, because of the investment cost, when you could invest so much less into things like chain lightning now. Also, my game is beginning to lag. I don't know why. I've been experiencing a lot of frame drops with my game. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm running the other emulator at the same time. I don't know. But, or maybe it's the orbital augment module. I don't know. But yeah, anyways, yeah, syncing up my smart missiles with my ultimate weapons. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I also mentioned this in one of my Making Up for Lost Time videos. I gotta find that clip, but yeah. If you see here, like, my chain lightning is a little bit over. I put a little bit of stones into it, like into the damage and the quantity and the chance, when instead I could have like worked on lowering the cooldown of like my black hole or something like that instead. Same thing with like my smart missiles. I shouldn't have touched this, but actually at one point I thought it'd be a good idea to sync it with my golden tower and the black hole. What a dumbass I was at the time. I don't know what I was thinking with this, but yeah, that was not the smartest choice. And yeah, my game just it lagged again. I don't know. Maybe it is the second account. I don't know, but we'll try and get through this for now. But yeah, I guess now we can move on to the next one. Okay, so this one at the time, this was one thing where I didn't really know about this, and I think a friend of mine was telling me about this too, and I got it, and I disagreed with them because I thought, oh well, if I do a higher tier, I'll make more coins per minute and it'll be more efficient, you know? But with the addition of cells and all, I didn't really know about spawn rates. I had no idea that there was a set spawn rate per wave. In other words, the max spawn rate is 56. I believe that's how many enemies per wave or something like that. I don't remember exactly 100% what that number means, but yeah, there is a max spawn rate, and you have to get to wave 6,500 to hit that. I was doing a lot of farm runs on like tier 10 and stuff, where I would only farm to like wave 4,600, and so I never utilized the max spawn rate. So, and this was doing like tier 10. And when I discovered this, I had to drop all the way down to like tier 4, like 3 or 4 to get to the max spawn rate. And since then, I've always tried doing a tier where I utilize the max spawn rate of 6,500 waves, because you want to hit that, and then you want to keep on going for another 1,500 or so waves. Ideally, when you're farming anywhere between tier 3 or maybe, I don't know, tier 4 or so, all the way up to like tier 11, you should farm those up to about, I would say, 9,500 to 10,000 waves ideally, or until the run becomes 12 hours long. Once the farm run becomes over 12 hours long, you need to try and consider moving up to the next tier. And sometimes at first, it might not be the most efficient when you first jump up a tier. But what then you got to do is you got to start improving your build so you can sustain a better wave count. Because I know I was doing tier 10 at one point. I was doing tier 10 to almost like over 10,000 waves, but then I was only doing tier 11 to like 7,500. But eventually, as I began to work on stuff on my tower, I think at the time it was like wall, things like the wall and EHP and all, and death wave health, etc. Then I began to survive longer and go further in the tier. And then, yeah. But then that's a whole different subject. When it comes to spawn rates, you should always be trying to hit the maximum spawn rate for the tier that you farm, and because you will make the most amount of coins and cells during that point. Especially when it comes to your cells, you're going to make the majority of your cells when you hit max spawn rate at wave 6,500. Like, the overwhelmingly majority of them. And I think same thing for coins as well. And then later on, when you get things like Wave Excel, Mastery, and Intro Sprint, it'll help accelerate these things, but that's obviously for later on. Okay, yeah. Alright, so that covers that, and let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so in the past, I didn't know any better for events. I was getting the event boost all the time, and I did collect all of the themes at the time and all. So I'm seeing more rerun events now. Just like here, this event here is also a rerun for me as well. And in the past, I would always spend a ton on the gems and the stones with metals. I'm talking about until like the buy cost was in like 100 to 200 or so. And looking back, since I was buying the event boost, it would have been better to put that into my gold bot. So basically, instead, it would have been better to put all those metals into my gold bot. And doing that, I probably would have been able to max out my duration or the bonus sooner. Now, right now, my bonus, I've been working on it for a while now. I think it needs only like 3 more clicks to max. But just looking back at all the metals that I spent, and I think at the time I tried to justify getting gems because I was saving up for card slots. I do remember in the past, I saved up for card slots 15, 16, and 17 all in a row with gems. It took a lot of discipline at the time, but I did buy a lot of these gem things in the event shop for it. But looking back now, I probably should have stayed away from. I mean, I guess sometimes getting the stones is okay. If you need like a couple more stones to top off a purchase with stones or whatever, or maybe if you need like 15 to 30 stones to get a mastery or like a level of a GT plus or like a big upgrade for one of your ultimates, then I guess it's okay. But for the most part, your metals should generally be going towards your gold bot for the most part. And then especially if you're free to play, your metals, they're probably only going to be able to go towards the themes and gold bot. So yeah, looking back, I wish I would have had more metals into my gold bot. And I think I have one more or two more. Let me see. Oh yeah, so here's one. I don't know if this is generally a mistake, but I guess I'll get into it anyway. Okay. Now at the time, basically, I had about 5 ultimate weapons. I believe I had Golden Tower, I had Black Hole, I had Spotlight, and I had Smart Missiles and Chain Lightning. And I had a choice to get my next ultimate weapon. And I had a choice to get Death Wave. And I even said that I was going to get Death Wave. And I was debating this with one of my friends at the time. And he was urging me to get the Chrono Field because obviously the end goal is to go for Glass Cannon. And for whatever reason, I disagreed with that. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think my econ is really good enough yet. And I think that this will be a much bigger boost to my tower. And spoiler alert, it was. When I did get Death Wave, I ended up getting the Chrono Field first over Death Wave. I got it as my 6th ultimate weapon. And then immediately I began working on the labs for Chrono Field. Now keep in mind, if I'm correct, I don't think there were cells at the time when I unlocked the Chrono Field. I don't think, or maybe cells were like a new thing at the time, so I was only doing like 1.5 times boost on labs, I think. I don't remember 100% because this was around January of this year, so this was like 10 months ago, around the end of January, basically, or February, one of the, so January. And so yeah, I took a gamble there, and I thought that Chrono Field was going to be better for me at the time. And yeah, it would have been better for tournaments. So I started to work on my Chrono Field for like a month straight or so. In 1 month, I got the Chrono Field duration to like level 22. I got the range to like level 5 or so. I don't remember. And then I got the damage reduction. I don't know. I did a little bit into it, but I didn't really see it as a very good lab really at the time. I don't know. Well, it's decent. It's good to have, but it's not something that I want to spend a lot of time on doing because I just think that there are better labs. But yeah, looking back, I wish I would have got Death Wave first, because that would have been better for my econ and all, because at the time my econ was trash, I'm not gonna lie. I really thought my econ was good, but I'm gonna get into that as the final topic, actually. But yeah, picking the chrono field, I guess it was good in a way that I had a little bit of a help in the Champion League at the time, having a semi-developed chrono field, as one would say. And so having that with G-Comp in the Champ League, I guess it put me at a little bit of a advantage over others that didn't have the chrono field. But I was nowhere near getting promoted to Legends League at the time. But I kind of wish I would have got Death Wave first. But oh well, we're here now. I mean, it's finished now, so I guess it worked out in the end. But looking back, I probably would have picked Death Wave first. Okay, and now for the final thing I wanted to talk about. Let's get into it. Okay, so anyways, yeah. In the past, there were a lot of labs that I just ran just because. And I perma-labbed them because I didn't know if there was anything better at the time. And it is what it is. So for the longest time, I had the following labs running for a very long time consistently. And that was lab speed, attack speed, coins per kill bonus, and cash bonus. And then fifth slot was whatever at the time, whether it was something for the wall or like a coin bonus lab. Funny enough, I should have finished my ultimate weapon coin bonus labs a long time ago, but I remember leaving them at level 15 or so, when instead I was doing other stuff like my chain lightning shock and my chrono field. I don't remember why, but looking back, I kind of wish I would have got my econ stuff done sooner, so that I would have had a better, I guess, econ foundation earlier on. But oh well, I guess we fixed that now. But anyways, yeah. And then with the perma labbing, I got my cash bonus all the way to like level 62, which is absolutely insane at the time. This was way before project funding as well, by the way. And I didn't really see the need for all of that. It is what it is. I mean, at some point your workshop is going to be set up in a way where you max out everything in game pretty quickly. So all of that cash bonus, it may help a little bit, but after a while it's kind of useless unless you're using project funding. But yeah, it is what it is. Now, I guess I'm going to leave that at 62 now for a while. I guess eventually, if I want like a bigger boost out of my project funding, then maybe I'll do the lab again. But I just think that now there's way better stuff to be doing in the lab until then. But yeah. So yeah, I think that basically covers everything. Real quick, as I'm editing this video, I just came up with one more mistake that I made. So my first 11 months of playing, I just realized this, but I used to never take the coin trade-off perk, because I guess I was afraid that my runs would be too short. What I mean by that is this is the perk where you get 1.98 times more coins, but 70% less health. This is in fact probably one of the best farming perks, and even now on my auto pick list for my perk auto picks, this is basically second on the list, as it's that good of a perk, and you definitely want to get this when you farm, because it's going to give you more coins. And then I guess when it comes to farming, sometimes it's not always about going the furthest amount of waves, whereas because with this perk, your runs may be a little bit shorter than if you don't take the perk, but your coins will be a lot better. So it'll be a lot more, I guess you could say, it'll be a lot more efficient. Now, obviously, you should be doing you should farm a tier where you hit max spawn rate if you're not doing a glass cannon and you don't have wave excel and interest sprint mastery. Then if you're doing anywhere between, I guess, like tier 3 and 11, then yeah, you should be trying to do a a tier where you hit max spawn rate still and get a decent amount of cells. Okay, I guess I rambled on a little too much, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because I just thought of that just now. And yeah, it is what it is, but yeah, here we are. Hopefully this was relatable to some players, or maybe you were able to learn anything from this. If not, that's fine, I guess, as well. But yeah, I just wanted to express, well, this is something that I wanted to do for a while now. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. Leave a like and a comment, and thank you guys, and see you all next time.